It's the streets. Chicago, man. It's a slave state, man. The United States is a slave state. How you think most of us got here, you know? They don't give us no jobs. You know, they send us to jail, put X's on our backs. Every day we do things that we don't want to do, but we have to do it to survive. You know what I mean? It's all set up for destruction, man. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's it. It's all set up for destruction, man.
90% of our fathers went there for us. They probably was on dope or ran off with somebody else. School only took us so far, and it was all on us after that. Either you had a wicked jump shot or you sling crack rock. Those was our choices right there. Only positive thing you can do is try to take care of your kids. That's the only thing that'll make you a man out here.
You know, we live in an era where most of us die young, so we learned to really, really enjoy that little time that we got here with each other, because we never know when we leaving. One group has to be at the bottom, and we were just that chosen group. I mean, look at the neighborhood. This the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like an ant farm, ant hill. People going to work, coming home. People raising their kids, cutting their grass. You know what I'm saying? We're a society within societies here.
Not
at all. It ain't fair.
It was never fair. It was never fair to our ancestors, man. It was never fair.
I don't get it twisted. I don't sell no drugs. You know, I got a job, but you know what I'm saying? I make it look real easy. You know what I'm talking about? We make it look real easy over here. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing, you know, there ain't nothing to it. You know what I'm saying? But to do it. So let it be what it is. Let it be what it be.
The area is too bad out here. The area is too bad. There's too much shooting. They just killed 3 people over here on Cole last night. It's on the TV. Cole is right here. And there was some shooting last night that my granddaughter had to call the police. But they're shooting over here all the time. And most of the time, the police don't come over here. They catch you coming out your house or going in your house and stuff. It's just silly and ignorant to me. You know, they divide up the city. The gangs and the drug dealer. And if they thinking you making a little bit more than they want to come over here, and then if you say no, then that's where the shooting and the killing, you know, it starts. It's all over. It's all over. So, and they just don't stop, and it's just all over money and power.
There's only 2 things that'll happen to a young man that decides that he wants to be a drug dealer. He's going to prison, or he's going to the graveyard. Those are his only 2 options. There's not another option. It was horrific to sit in a courtroom and hear my son portrayed as this gangster kingpin. I asked my husband at least 4 or 5 times, what did he say? Did he say 42 years? Did he say 42 years?
Oh, I miss him so much. I haven't seen his face in over 5 years. A little bit about 5 years. I was like, well, basically, well, what did you do for 25 years? Because the only person people like get like that, if you think is murderers, you know, or rapers or something like that, to get 25 years. And I was really kind of upset about that.
He was in a gang. He sold drugs. He did what he did. The courts and society has convicted my son. I'm not going to convict him every day.
First of all, before I begin this letter, Mama, I want to tell you that you're very special to me, and you know that I love you. Thank you for loving me when I didn't love myself. Really, words can express how much I love you, so I just want to say thank you.
Chicago was my home. That's all I know. That's my city. I was a graffiti artist back when I was younger. You know, I spray painted trains and walls, and I stayed out all night. You know, the streets kind of raised me. I was always in the streets since I was young.
I would always display that I was a good child. But for hours when I was supposed to be in bed, I'd be watching and listening to the gangsters in the courtyard where we lived in the Jane Addams. I was fascinated by their lifestyle, and I wanted to be like them.
I got to a point in my life where I wanted to be a drug dealer. It was hard work, but I liked how fast you reap the benefits. The money I made in Chicago was cool when I first started hustling, but as I got older, I realized it was just not fast enough. So I decided, like a few others I know, to take my show on the road. I went to several different towns in Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota, Kentucky, and ultimately laying my hat down in Rockford. While I was in Rockford, I ran across my Stone Brothers, Duck, and we decided to work together.
At first, it was just business, but then it became like pleasure.
Rockford was not our home. We were invading someone else's territory. We were foreigners in a foreign land. Like, I never thought they'd go through so much to put us behind bars. I never thought they'd go through so much to get little old me.
I never was a good drug dealer, but for a long time, I was happy. Because I was one of them gangsters I fantasized being when I was little, seeing them in the courtyard. Truly in my heart, I do not regret going to Rockford.
Between about 2001 up through 2005, there was a growing presence of hardened Chicago gang members that were coming out to Rockford and taking over the drug business. Word began to spread about this guy named Duck and members of the Titanic Stones.
I kept hearing his name Duck, that he was from Chicago, that he was putting on a lot of dope here in Rockford. He's just a young guy, but he had a real reputation. People were afraid of him, just a little guy. The talk in the street, informant information is that this group run by Duck, Titanic Stones, were trying to take over the drug trade in Rockford, and they were moving real strong.
When they arrived here in Rockford, there was definitely a power struggle, Chicago versus Rockford. We'd have our robberies, our shootings. There have been murders here.
Every so often, somebody comes into power. It's just like anything else in life, you know, any business or any, you know, something always rises to the top. It was an epidemic, is basically what it was. 'Cause they were shooting a lot of people.
Random gunfire was taking place, a lot of it directed to housing developments in the city. We were having multiple shots fired during these shootings. There was one particular incident that took place on Underwood Street on a Saturday afternoon. There was a running gun battle in the middle of the street. There were 60 rounds exchanged. There were 60 casings in the street. And it was a miracle that nobody was killed. I mean, there were children out playing, the rounds were flying, and everything went back to Duck.
Now we're coming up on Central. We're still on the west side of town here in Rockford. We're gonna go by the Auburn Street McDonald's where Julio Allen, a member of an opposite gang here in Rockford, was confronted by Doug Davis and Bradford Dotson.
Bradford Dotson, who had the nickname of Hustler, played the role of enforcer. Duck's orders at the McDonald's restaurant at Auburn and Central tried to carry out a hit in retaliation for a home invasion at one of the gang's drug houses. They found out Julio Allen was there. Davis gave the order, and Bradford Dotson fired several rounds through a plate glass window.
When you got someone firing rounds inside a McDonald's like that, that's unacceptable. That's when I said, I want this Duck. This guy has got to go down. We initiated a federal case. Did an awful lot of surveillance, following people, watching people, talking to informants. We started to see the pattern, the way they were selling narcotics was the same. He was using different locations in the city, renting houses. Normally he would have a lady rent the house in her name. Nobody would live there. They would just use it strictly to sell drugs.
The end game for us here was to take out the organization as a whole. The Rockford Police Department had executed search warrants at many of these drug houses and only gotten small quantities of crack cocaine or heroin, almost always heroin, and he was never there. He wasn't the one selling it. We were lucky enough to have a confidential informant who was providing us with a wealth of information and told us that she had been approached and asked if she would be interested in renting a house on behalf of Duck and the Titanic Stones.
I was selling crack, I was selling dime bags, 20s, 8 balls. I mean, I was good at it. I'm not gonna sit there and say I was good at it. I just slipped up one time because I was drunk. I was messed up and forgot to take it out and went to jail, and they found it in the jailhouse. Some people say they ain't scared of going to prison. That's a lie. Everybody's scared to go to prison because I was scared to go to prison. I had to make a decision and had to make it quick. And anybody in my shoes, anything, probably would have did the same thing if you really cared about your kids. You know, everybody call me snitches. Okay, I'll be a snitch. My kids is more important than any of y'all, anybody. My kids and my family come before anything. Duck looks like the coolest person. I'm talking about like the coolest person. You look into it, you be like, oh, he's a low connect, but he's the scariest person. If you get to know him and you see how he really is, he's the dangerous man in period I ever seen in my life because he's very dangerous. I'm talking about he had more power than Scarface. That's how I'm telling you. That man was big, big. They would have killed me if they found out I want them down, how I went down. They would have killed me. I'd be dead. I mean, it's a chance I had to take.
Summer's coming on now.
Yeah.
Popping.
Gonna get hot, gonna get busy.
You have any time off? Because I got to bale all that hay.
You still gotta protect the street, too.
I grew up in a small town here, real small town. Not even in the small town, outside the small town. Grew up on a farm, raised beef cattle. When I was growing up, I actually wanted to stay on the farm and raise cattle, and Dad told me that the market was going bad with cattle and there wasn't any money in it, so I had to get a job in town. This is where I ended up. He does have a pretty gait.
Yeah.
Beginning of the case, I was working in the narcotics unit, and my brother was in the gang unit. And we were both working both angles of it. And Barry came to me one day and said, hey, man, I got an idea. Do you think this will work? He told me that he had an informant, and the informant had been approached and asked to rent a house, and then the house would be used for a drug house. And they wanted to wire the house up with video and audio. I said, yeah, I think we can make that happen.
This is where the house was. The house was donated to us. It was scheduled for demolition. That's the spot right there. And it was pretty much disgusting when we got it, but they were kind enough to just let us do whatever we wanted to do. We parked in this driveway and carried lots and lots of carpeting and junk inside.
Well, we chose a location because at the time, the targets that we're looking at were looking for an east side spot. This is our near east side of town in Rockford. They were looking for a spot that had alleys, that was pretty much hidden from the general traffic, but could be accessible to somebody that want to get in and get out.
It was boarded up. Every window, every door was boarded up. Inside, the carpet was rotten. The flooring was a mess. All the utilities were not functioning. We would come over in our undercover vehicles. We would paint carpet, do electrical work, plumbing, just totally redo the house. But we added things to it. video and audio.
Talking to our technical people, ATF's technical people, we determined in order to do what we wanted to do, we would have to hardwire the house to a listening post. And by hardwire, I mean we needed a cable run directly from that house to wherever we set up a command post / listening post. Fortunately, one day we were in a room talking and a sergeant from the community relations happened to be in there and he heard the problem and said, "I've got just a spot for you." Went out, looked at it, it was perfect.
The factory or command center that we used was an old model paint factory. From the third or fourth floor, wherever we were, we had a bird's eye view of the house looking north. And the command center was set up so that there was a monitoring room where you'd have 3 agents at 3 separate monitoring stations and then a supervisor in the room. And each of those stations monitored a particular room in the house at 1023 Kishwaukee. One for the kitchen, one for the dining room, one for the living room. Nobody could guarantee that after all that hard work that the Titanic Stones wouldn't just say we're not interested anymore, or that they would think something was up. So there were some tense days leading up to August 9th.
But when I took Duck to show him that house today, he loved it. He loved it. I'm talking, he fell in love with it. He said, "Man, call that motherfucking landlord right now and tell him you want it." He said it's low key, it's off of the back in the alley. It's interest for the smokers to come in from the alley and nobody gonna see him. It's 2 ways to come in from the back way. He wanted it. We didn't even use the front door. He wanted it. He was like, tell him, yeah. So I called. I was like, Duck wants it. He said he wants it. I said he likes it. I said he loves it.
Finally, on August 9th, it worked out. And within a very short period of time, a couple of hours, the keys were turned over. And within an almost identical short period of time, they're moving in.
Bro, you gotta get out, man. I like this shit. Ooh, shit. Damn, bitches thought they was getting buzzed down around this motherfucker. What? Oh, my mama, they gonna be getting buzzed down in every room. Alright, come on, man. You tearing our shit up, man. Alright, you gotta rest. Alright. My dirty ass broke that brown water. So that's the motherfucking Rocker building inspection. Come on. What's up, G-Ball? Huh? Ready for cook. You in, bro? Yeah. Oh, wait. Gotta turn it. Swing, bro. Yeah. Now swing, get back the other way.
When we pulled up, it was like a regular little trap. He ain't look like nothing suspicious or nothing like that.
The first time I saw it, I just looked at it as another trap. I mean, we had so many. It was crazy one day because the first time I ever went over there, my girl dropped me off. And when she was dropping me off, she said, "Baby, I've been staying in Rockford all my life and ain't nobody never lived in that house." So the first thing I said, "Well, what the fuck does that mean?"
You see furniture coming in, and Duck and Little Steve and Bradford Dotson and Ambrose Jones. They're carrying couches in, they're carrying chairs in, and they're setting up shop. That night, they're selling dope.
What's up, Shane? Y'all all together? Yep. What's y'all want? 40. 40 what? 40. You know y'all got one, y'all gotta do one or yeah, that's what he said. That's no problem.
Putting video and audio in a living and breathing drug house and turning the keys over to the gang when you wanted to turn them over, that had never been done before. It is really an underclass and subculture that most people really never see. I remember a phone call that I received from Barry Cunningham when I wasn't in the monitoring room. And Barry's words were, "We're in the hornet's nest here."
Dude jump out the car here twice. I'm squeezing at his ass. He can get low. I jump out, running at his ass. Yeah, you was squeezing at his ass. Boom, 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 boom. Put that little shit up, got to run, they pull it off left and shit. Seen no shit like that, boy. Man, come on. That's a 10 millimeter. Ain't no 10 millimeter. That's a 947. Rocky, boy. See them rockets in there. Oh, this is top like a motherfucker.
I've been working narcotics for many, many years and spent countless hours on surveillance, whether or not it's in the back of a van or a squad car, sitting back with binoculars watching drug houses or watching people deliver drugs or purchase drugs. So you always had a good concept of what it was like from the outside, but you never knew what it was really like on the inside. Well, this gave us the opportunity to take an inside seat in that drug house and determine exactly what was taking place.
Give me a light. Hey, what you want? It ain't one in the head, is it? Man! Ooh, you a fucking duty, man. Just because you ain't see it, it could have been stuck in the chain. Cock it back, Mons. You could have probably... I decocked it, Mons. I was going to shoot you right back. You would have shot me right in the balls. This a decock, Mons. Boy, this boy slick. It's just beat up. That girl got a body on it. Out this motherfucker. You know I have. This girl got a body on it? Hell yeah. This girl got a body on it? I'll send you out here with that gun. It's hot. It's hot. Man, this gun is hot. G, look at this, man.
I was here from about 5 o'clock in the morning every morning until midnight, 2 o'clock every night. It was just miserable hot every day. Everybody was miserable. Everybody was complaining at me because I was the guy supposed to be handling the gear and I just couldn't keep it cool enough. It was a learning experience, I think, for everybody there. This is the first time you actually saw what happened in a drug house. They were just living like regular people live. Watching TV, playing video games, visiting with their friends. Just that normal life was interrupted by selling drugs and playing with guns and counting money.
Yeah, different, though. I would have threw that motherfucker. Man, I would have. Look at it.
If there's not criminal activity going on, then the court order provides that you have to turn off the recording devices. Most often, everything that was going on in that house was criminal in nature because there was almost always drugs around or a gun in the room. Almost everybody was a convicted felon, so everything was criminal in nature.
Go over, man, to the window. Go to the window. You call me. I snort so loud, this thing is a rubber can. Alright, Joey, man. Alright, Joey.
I mean, it was a pretty simple operation. Whoever was in the house at that time, people would come to the door. They knew the majority of the people coming to the door because of the fact that they were dealing with them on a regular basis. I mean, they would lay around all day long on the couch just waiting for someone to knock on a door so they could sell dope to them.
Window, G. For me? Yeah, window, G. Where's the window, Rush? The window. I'm gonna get the window. Which one we could watch the window? What's wrong? Here you go. You want some something? louder for you to run in your mouth, bitch. Get in there. Get in there. The police coming anyway. Get in there.
They don't gotta call the police.
Thought it was a joke, bitch. Yes, you did. Get the fuck up. Got one more fucking mom in the front down here. Take that shirt off. Change clothes, bitch. Get the fuck up before I push your face through this wall. You ain't come tell me shit. You didn't even let me go on the attitude. Talking that shit, get the fuck up. You keep hanging up on me. And I'm not gonna tell you again. Okay, you win my will. Turn that refrigerator on your head, bitch. Get up.
This group was associated with so much violence. Once those microphones were turned on and those cameras were turned on, while there was some relief that it was working, the tension didn't necessarily subside because it became very obvious to us that this gang was for real, and the reputation that preceded them was one that was appropriate.
The last thing in the world we wanted to do would bring violence to a neighborhood. I mean, we set this house up. So, you know, God forbid we brought violence into the neighborhood and somebody got hurt. You know, we were always concerned about that, you know, that was something that we had to keep in mind, and we couldn't let it get out of control.
Now it's about to get real in the field. Oh shit. Bring fully all those out and let us just tear this motherfucker up. Start tearing the motherfucking projects up. It's gonna get ugly. For real. Put your helmet on. Put your 3D glasses on, pussy, because you know we coming straight at you.
Every evening, the shit would hit the fan. I really can't think of a better way of saying it. The shit would just hit the fan. Several times, they'd just jump up and say, let's go shoot so-and-so. And you'd just be like, okay, now we got to stop this. And usually they'd end up talking about it for 5 minutes, smoking dope, playing video games, and forget about it. So you didn't have to do anything. It took care of itself. But nevertheless, it was every night. Every night. So we got to be just kind of a laugh. We'd all wait around there from come the 7 o'clock catastrophe every night.
That's the police, man. That's that fat mark that was walking around in the grave. I don't know. Yeah, I'm figuring it out right here. It's over. Where that thing at? Right there, buddy. Where the police at? Right there. Where? What the fuck is you doing? That's the police, man. That's a fucking crib. You fucking with cats, Mo. Man, it could be a send-off, man. Well, we need to put the bang in the car, G. Hey, watch the windows, G. Come on, man. Grab the shield and bang down real walk, man. Right. But you gotta grab the shield since they're taking a bang and leaving a bag of shells, G. Hey, I'm going to the Batmobile. Bro! To the back gate. Who live right there? Man. I'm sure. You sure? Need curtains. Yeah.
Shawty.
Yo, mouth, man. You was gonna swallow all this.
I was gonna choke to
You
die.
stupid.
Shit. I'm gonna be on the floor straight there.
That shit ain't gonna kill you. We said the best dope in rock. They got you all hooked and you got to promote. You got the best dope in the city. Y'all play it back like, we got the best dope in Rockford, by the way. Yeah. As we gonna be here in club. We got the best dope in rock. We gonna be playing that shit. Oh, 3P, that looks good. We got the best dope in rock. We got the best dope in rock.
find out that he started selling drugs until I was 16 or 17. Walked in a room, and he was cutting it up. So, you know, it's just like, I didn't say nothing. He just told me to get out the room. Not until the feds was looking for him, we really sat down and had a talk. And I was like, Montreal, you need to change your life. I said, there are so many things you can do. I'm like, you can do things that your other friends can't do. I just found out recently some of them can't even read. You know, he could read. He knows how to play the saxophone. And trust me, I used to try to, like, you know, whatever instrument he used to play, I used to try to learn how to do the saxophone. It is hard. All those notes and all that, it is so hard. But his ass mastered the saxophone and can play that goddamn saxophone. I asked him, well, what? I said, why? And he said, well, I walked in a room and I ain't never seen that much money in my life. All at once. I never seen it, and I wanted that. That's what he said. I wanted that.
I see my great-grandma. Yeah, my grandma don't want nobody to spank it or do nothing to it. Ow. Okay. This is our little family. Montreal, we love him too, even though he's in jail.
I miss him.
Yeah, I do too. Let me tell you something that I told Montreal and everybody else in jail. They did not send for you. This was your choice. They did not send for you. You don't have to do what you see little Johnny do, a little Calvin do. You don't have to do this. I know plenty of people that I knew that was doing things wrong even since I've been grown. Did I get out there and do it? No, because I know better. Everybody has a choice. That's including Montreal and everybody else. You and everybody else. We have a choice. Because you don't have to do what the next person do. I'm like me. I am my own model. And a lot of people talking about these basketball players and these movie stars, they try to portray these people as role models. They are not no role model. I am the role model in my house. That's what you should do. Stand up, mother and father, and be the role model in your house. All we have to do is just pray and think positive and everything will be okay.
Okay, Miss Siobhan. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the first time a child in our family been on a pacifier.
I know.
So hopefully we'll be back home soon. This area is too bad out here.
And no more of this train. God, I get up out of this train.
If you came to my house when I was growing up, oh, you knew it was a holiday. We be eating like mad, 24 hours, all day, all evening, all night. You could smell the nuts, the cakes, the pies. We had a big pot of chitlin. Then you had a big pan of macaroni and cheese. And then you had a big bowl of potato salad. Then you had a shrimp salad. And you had fried peach pies. You have the sweet potato pies, custard pies, and great big pot of greens, great big pot of string beans, salt pork going all through these baked beans and strips of bacon on the top. You ever had grits and chicken? Well, see, that's what my grandmother would do sometimes just for breakfast. We always had food. My house is my life, the memories and the things that I used to do there and the cooking, and it's nothing like having something of your own. You don't have to worry about nobody running over your head, and you keep your house clean in your backyard, and you can always go out there to cook and enjoy yourself. We were all, might as well say, raised up in that house. The house was my grandparents' house. He was born there. Letitia and Montreal was born there. Even though it is in the shamble, I feel like I'm at home. And I always go over there to clean up and sweep up. I can't wait to get back over there. When I go over there, I hate to come back this way. Hyde Park offers so much that the other areas, to me, don't offer.
Around here in Hyde Park, it's always been nice. You rarely hear about crime happening over here, if ever. But everybody wants to live in Hyde Park because it's quiet, it's considered safe, but it's really expensive to live in here. But this is where Daryl, he really grew up in Hyde Park, because I used to live on 47th and on Lake Park. And we'll go down there as well. And that's where it all started. The ditching school, the hanging out with the wrong crowd. That's where it started. Daryl had a chance. He didn't have to make the choices he made. He had role models. Here's Hyde Park Academy. That's where he went to high school. It would have been a totally different ballgame had I had my act together. I fell prey to the streets. And obviously, you know, he did too.
Things like this. Who is it? Who's that, B.O.? Let me see. You were in jail, right? Yeah. Yeah. What's up, bro?
I wasn't in jail.
I know you weren't. You want some hard, don't you?
Yeah, boy.
How many you want? Well, I want one. Give me one of them squares, son. I had candy bar. You bust them down? What's that? You know what I mean? Make them bust down. Fuck you, man. You got your missile with you? Yeah, bro. Yeah. Fuck you, nigga. Do that shit, right? Yeah. Right. No problem, man. I'm snuff your see, man? Clean. I see. I don't blame you, bro. Get that from me, guys.
All right, guys.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So you know where the spot at now? Yeah, man. Here. Bring a friend or something. Man. All right, bro. Thanks, man.
It was interesting and I guess disturbing at the same time what the customer base was. And there were people from all walks of life. People who looked like they just gotten off work at 5:30 and stopped at the drug house to get their heroin fix. People who clearly were well on their way to becoming heroin addicts. Young people, teenagers, people from all walks of life.
You'd see the soccer moms showing up in the minivan getting dope. You'd see, you know, the hardcore drug addicts. You'd see black, white, male, female, young, old, anything. It was just all over the place.
Let's see, bro. 360.
You know, many times your victims are not the best citizens themselves, but they're still a victim. How'd they get to this point? They're taking their life in their hands to go to a neighborhood they know nothing about, to walk into a house they know nothing about. There's guys in here with guns, to purchase a little bag of powder. What went so wrong in their lives to put them to that point? And this is a small part of a huge picture. How big is this drug problem throughout the world. It's beyond explanation. It's huge.
The life I had, the hard part, I made it hard. I had an easy life. I had my parents did the best they could with what they had. I have wonderful, loving parents. And although my home was semi-dysfunctional, my parents did everything in their power to make sure I didn't use drugs. Had I not used, would he not have sold drugs? I can't say that for sure. He had a huge influence from his father, and he wanted to be just like Daddy. And Daddy was a dope dealer. He had no respect for me. I was addicted to cocaine. He had no respect for me. But his father, on the other hand, that's who he respected.
Duck in the video footage came across as somebody who was always in control. When he walked in, anybody who was in the house sort of perked up, and Duck was there for one reason, which was to deliver drugs and to pick up the money, most importantly.
You went to the Golden State?
Duck was in charge, and nobody else knew who Duck knew. Duck had the contacts in Chicago. When he made a transaction in Chicago, no one was allowed to be with him during that transaction. They'd have to wait in the car. He kept that confidential. You know, that was his ace in the hole with these guys, because he knew one of them would go out and try to make a contact with them otherwise.
When he needed to re-up or get more crack cocaine, he went into the city. Duck never drove himself. Most often his driver was Ambrose Jones, somebody who was in his very tight inner circle, somebody he trusted. It was a car that was in somebody else's name, a big black SUV. We later found out had a hidden compartment. But he went in and picked it up, brought it back to Rockford, where he mixed it and stored it at his girlfriend's house, away from where he slept or did his business. Anytime one of the drug houses that was being operated was out of drugs, whoever was working would use the Nextel phone